And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Wednesday, July 3rd. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. We've got the sun shining and going to get warmer, they tell us, as we are here on July 3rd, the day before the 4th of July. And, of course, we're on the air each Wednesday at this time for Cedarstone Bank off Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Donaldson, simple banking, simply better. And I'm going to go to the telephone, and we have Robert McDonald on the line this morning, who's going to do the commercial. But usually when Robert is with us, he's right here live in studio. But Robert, you are calling in this morning, and good morning and welcome again.
Coleman, good morning. I think it's one of the first times that I've had to call in. I always miss being right there with you all, but I hope y'all are having a good morning and happy 4th to you.
Well, likewise, and I guess that's a good place to start this morning. The country doesn't totally shut down, but a lot of businesses and, of course, all the federal and state and local government offices and we won't be here tomorrow even for we get the 4th of July off. The radio will be on, but we won't be here. So that's a good place to start, and you're just gonna have the day off at Cedarstone, right?
Well, wonderful. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Celebrate, of course, our independence, and that's a good reminder for folks. Of course, we will be off tomorrow, but of course, as you know, you can always access your Cedarstone bank account via online banking, the mobile app, but all offices are closed. We're open 4 hours today. We are closed tomorrow, but then back in operation on Friday with full operating hours and, of course, our Saturday hours as well.
Well, we usually introduce you as the vice president and relationship manager, and of course, you've been handling the Donaldson office for quite some time, and I think some of your duties have extended over into Mount Juliet more recently. So you're a busy guy.
It has, yes, sir. But of course, it's a privilege to do so. And Coleman, it's hard to believe I've now been with the company over 11 years, most of which is right there in Donaldson, and then. We had the Mount Juliet team. I know I mentioned last week that, and I talked to Mr. Bob Jacobs, who is our vice president, relationship manager in that office, and he's excited to come in the studio. And I'd love for your listeners to get to know him, and then also for you. You may have met him briefly before, but he's excited about the opportunity to come by and be on the radio with you here very soon.
Yeah, well, we'll look forward to that. But if somebody's in need of some money today, today's the day you can get your loan at Cedarstone.
I always love your tagline there. You get your loan at Cedarstone, Coleman. Of course, loan demand remains strong. We're lending money, and it's a good opportunity now to do so. Rates are still at a historic, low in some areas. They've maintained the same oval as we've talked about for about 18 months, but Cedarstone Bank is lending money in all aspects of lending. Coleman's we talk about, whether it be for new home renovations, an auto loan, a secured loan of some sort. Cedarstone Bank is there for you.
Well, there's such a diverse way, so many different ideas for people needing a loan, and you mentioned some of them, but the list is really quite long for reasons for people to need to borrow some money.
Of course, for anything, Coleman, really, this time of year especially, you can find deals. We're seeing a lot of new or used auto loans right now, and in Coleman, we have a very competitive rate on those for existing and non-existing customers, and of course, that you can find great deals on dealerships throughout Wilson County and Davidson County right now. But again, it's also a time of year that folks are tapping into their equity in their home via home equity lines of credit to renovate or add on. And so there's various ways of lending money, and we're always there to support that and cultivate that relationship. As you know, the relationship's a key thing with us. But there's various aspects of lending, and we are doing all those.
Robert, sometimes, and maybe especially if it's early in life and you're a little bit timid to come and ask for a loan, and I'm sure you work with those people and try to put them at ease. And maybe if you can't say yes to one particular loan, you can figure out one that will work for them.
That's exactly right, Coleman. It can be, you made a great point there. It can be intimidating to come in and, of course, ask for money. And if you're going through a situation, you never know what folks are going through. But I think, with our team and our staff, we're always there to talk through any scenario. And if there's a reason why we could not do it at that point in time, we always sit down and kind of make a game plan. Okay, let's in the next 6 months, here's what you need to do in order to be able to qualify. So you made a great point there. It can be intimidating, but we always work with everybody and try to help them. If we can't do it right then and there, we try to establish a plan on how we can do it down the road, and that's the key. That's the key thing, and as being an advisor in the banking world.
All right, and before you go, we need to talk about that Simply Better free checking account.
Yes, so we still have it. 20 years running now. It's totally free, Coleman, as you know. No minimum balance required. Your ATM card, you can use your debit card anywhere in the world to access your money. We reimburse that for an ATM fee. Mobile banking. If you have checks, you can mobile deposit those checks for free. It's a great account. It's also a good time too for folks with students going off to college to utilize that account and start that relationship, for their kids. So when they graduate in a few years, that relationship's already started with us. So we're starting to see that a lot here as they prep for moving out and starting their freshman year in college. It's a great account and it's totally free.
Yes, and that free checking is just you got your foot really in the door when you open that up. That's just a good way to start and build that relationship. And the fact that it's free and with all the perks that you get, I don't think there's one better anywhere.
I would love for you to find me one. I don't think there is one. It's and also you have great people there to support you as well.
Robert, it's good to have you with us today. Have a nice 4th of July, and we'll see you next time, whenever that is.
Coleman, thank you so much. I'm glad you're off tomorrow, and happy 4th to everybody out there.
All right. Robert McDonald, and that's it for Cedar Stone Bank, Lebanon, Mount Julia, Donaldson. Simple banking, simply better. We're about 11 after the hour, and this is the first Wednesday of the month. The first Wednesday in this half hour, we feature the UT Extension Office. And this morning is no exception. Lesline Watkins joins us today to talk about whatever's on her mind. We're going to find out. Lesline, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. It is good to see you again.
Good to see you, too. Glad to be back.
You having a busy summer?
Yes, very much so.
Well, I'm sure, especially being part of the government, you're going to be off tomorrow.
Yes, of course. I'm very much looking forward to the break.
What do you got to talk about this morning?
Oh, well, it's been busy, so I'm trying to rack my brain for all the stuff I've been doing. It feels like it's been nonstop over the past few months, but we always enjoy that whenever we're busy. So when when Extension is busy, we're doing good stuff. So
let me just say, yeah. I look forward to the first Wednesday each month. But first of all, we don't, and it's not necessary at all to know who is coming. I've gotten to know, and of course the new ones. You're relatively new, but you've been around for a while. But everybody from Lucas Holman on down, we enjoy having you out, and each one of you has a different role to play. And by the way, what mainly do you do?
Yeah, so I work in the Family and Consumer Sciences department, but specifically I do nutrition education. So I do everything related to physical activity, healthy eating, shopping on a budget, all of that good stuff.
You enjoy what you do?
Oh, yeah, I love it. I don't think there's ever been a day when I didn't tell myself that I loved what I do. So it's always good.
When you went to college to study in this particular field.
Yeah. Well, I started out in child and family studies, and I did a few nutrition classes here and there, and I got a certification in to be a nutritionist once I started my position, and now I can say I'm a certified nutritionist.
Well, what all have you been doing?
Yeah. So the main thing that I like to do, and the one that's been the most popular, is cooking classes. So for adults, we do a series of lessons where we're talking about how to eat healthy on a budget and how to shop on a budget. And then after the lessons, we actually do a cooking portion. So each week we'll pick out a new recipe that's healthy and that's budget friendly, and we'll actually create that recipe in-house. So
I got to wonder a little bit here. I won't say at all that cooking's a lost art, but anytime, just about even during the week or whatever, you go to restaurants, you find people that eat out, and especially people who don't want to go home and cook supper or dinner or whatever we want to call it, and all of that. Times changed over the years.
Absolutely.
But you must have enjoyed cooking and learning to cook, because not only have you been successful in that, but now you're teaching others.
Yeah, and I agree. Cooking is kind of getting to be a lost art, and I think it's just not necessarily cooking in itself, but eating meals at home and just really enjoying meals at home. But yeah, I've enjoyed it, and I think even just being in my position is what helped me enjoy and see that kind of the good in eating at home and cooking meals.
Do you have to sell this a little bit to some of the people you
kind of, and the sell that we have is that each time we make the recipes, we actually are able to give people the same amount of food to take home so that they can make the recipe again. So I like to think of that as my sell, because I know I would want to do something like that if I was in their position.
But we have, of course, I'm old, and I have to tell myself this every other day anyway. I've been around for a while, but I can remember when just to eat out in a restaurant, maybe once a month. That was a treat. It wasn't something we hardly ever did.
Yeah, and it can add up.
Of course, money was scarcer, let's say, back then.
Yeah.
We've always had some hard times, I guess, but it was just a different life 80 years ago.
Exactly. You're right. And we're trying to get people back into that position of showing them what it means to eat at home, and how to grow your own food. That's another thing that we're doing over the summers. We do a gardening and nutrition camp over at the fairgrounds, just trying to show kids what it means to see where their food comes from, how they could potentially grow their own food, and then that nutrition aspect as well, kind of a full circle.
Well, believe it or not, we're already a minute past time. We normally take a break, so let's do that.
Sounds
right here.
Good.
Leslie Watkins is with us from the UT Extension office, and more in a moment on Coleman and Company FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford and the Works Vehicle Checkup, they'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. $59.95 up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal, tire rotation, and safety check. 1780 Franklin Road. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
It's starting to slow down again. It was moving, then it started to get heavy again. 65 southbound down through Millersville this morning. Lots of folks are on the road out here. Just give yourself plenty of extra time as it loads up again on 24 westbound. Coming out of Murfreesboro and Rutherford County up through Antioch. Watch your speed in lots of places. Radar, I-40 out in the Mount Juliet area and in Dixon County as well. Prince's Hot Chicken has new items on that brand new menu. Check them all out at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Are you facing a challenging time that you need help navigating? Well, look no further than your local law firm of Kane & Crowell. At the offices of Kane & Crowell, we understand the complexities that come with family law matters. Whether you're going through a divorce, working through child custody or support matters, or needing a will or trust drafted to protect your family assets for future generations. Kane & Crowell, 615-784-4800. Your local leaders in family law matters.
Coleman and Company here on this Wednesday, July 3rd. We welcome you. If you just joined us, Leslie Watkins has joined us to talk about what she does at the UT Extension office. And we kind of interrupted there for a break, as we have to do sometimes. But teaching people the value of being able to prepare meals, cooking. And I don't know how much of that is taught in school now. I guess there are classes available, but probably everybody doesn't do that. And back when I was in high school, nearly all the girls took home economics.
Right.
That is not true today, is it?
Not particularly. Those classes still exist, but whether or not every student actually takes them is another thing. And that's actually something that I do is I go into the schools and I teach some of these kind of skills and things that kids need to know about building healthy plates. Not so much just cooking, but what it means, like what healthy food actually means for them and how they can use those foods to kind of be healthy.
Okay, now, how much of this did you know, let's say, before you went to college? Did you talk about that?
Yeah, well, I didn't necessarily specialize in nutrition in my undergrad, but I think just learning along the way as I started my position, and then the classes I've taken and the certifications that I've had has really helped me kind of get more involved into that.
Yeah, there has to be a little motivation somewhere, though.
Yeah,
I mean, cooking
true.
can. I mean, I know a little bit, and I can't. I can boil water without scratching it, or scorching it, and I make a pretty good pot of coffee. But that's about where it is.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at here, if you're doing that day in and day out like it used to be, and I mean, usually the women would prepare breakfast, and then they got to have lunch or dinner, and then supper or the other dinner or whatever. I mean, it could be 3 meals a day. Now, some of it could be leftovers, but that can be a drudge. And I mean, I can understand why you get burnt out real quick.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I guess, did. It is somewhat different now, but you can first of all, you can save some money if you're on a budget and want to get by is little using some of the things that you teach, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what we tell people, like everything that we teach, you don't have to follow it by the book. You have to do what's realistic for you. Some people, that means eating out every once in a while, but it's all about a balance, right? Figuring out what you can make at home versus what you have time to go and grab as far as fast food or just eating out, and just making sure that your choices that you're making are healthy ones and that you find a balance within all that.
And that there are some people who are really good cooks. Others, I guess, just get by.
Right.
and I don't know how you become a really good cook. Trial and error plays a part in it. Doesn't it?
And I don't think necessarily to eat healthy you don't necessarily have to be the best cook. Sometimes it's about those simple solutions, just fruits and vegetables, how it comes. But I wouldn't call myself the best cook or anything like that. But it definitely comes into play with that. And I think the more you test out recipes and play with new ideas and things like that, that's what really builds those skills. So,
you have when you're teaching, you're telling people you have their ear pretty well.
I like to think I do, and I try to be to let them talk too, because I want to give people like ideas and different tips that they can actually use. Because a lot of times when we have like a curriculum or a program, it's written a certain way, but whether or not it applies to the real life is another thing. So I try to get their feedback and give them ideas and try to feed off of them and kind of make it a pretty informal thing and something fun for them to do.
Well, some people adapt better than others, no doubt.
That is true.
But there's value in what you have to teach here, and I bet you have a lot of people that have really improved their situation by listening to you.
Yeah, I like to think so. Yeah, and it's all about making those small changes. I always tell people that you don't have to change the way you cook or learn all these new things overnight, but slowly and gradually adapting to what it means to eat healthy is kind of what gets you there, and especially for your family as well. So I try to teach people not only you're cooking for yourself, but you're cooking for your family and you're making things that are good for their bodies as well.
Now, the people that you teach and that you have classes for, work with, are they mostly ladies?
Yeah, for the most part. I've had a few men sign up, but they've never made it to the class yet. But I even just getting them to sign up is a win for me, so I appreciate that. So.
But some guys, if they want to eat, have to do a little cooking.
Yeah. If you want to eat, somebody's got to do the cooking.
What else did you want to talk about?
Well, the one thing that we're getting ready for is our camp at the fairgrounds. That's one thing I was mentioning before we went on break. Is I just really appreciate that because that's a partnership with Vine Branch Fellowship. They're amazing. They've been the ones, if you've seen any of the community gardens around, I've kind of helped them with that. And what our idea is with that is to help the community, help kids, people of all ages to make that connection to growing your own food and letting people have those opportunities to fruits and vegetables and things like that. So we're actually using the garden, or there's a greenhouse now at the fairgrounds as a way to connect our camp and teach those kids about what healthy eating looks like, where their food comes from and things like that, because a lot of times that gets lost within different like curriculum nowadays. Kids don't really know where their food comes from, and we're just trying to help them build that connection back where that is.
And I think that's the same people that's got the gardens growing over to senior citizens.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the same one.
Some pretty good looking plants over there. I haven't been in there to see what's there.
Yeah, I've heard they're picking squash and zucchini. I think even some tomatoes, maybe. I'm not sure.
Well, this idea must have caught on enough. I mean, this is the second or third year, I think.
Yep, it's the third year. Yep. And we're doing 2 camps this year. We actually finished the first one in June, and then we're having a second one for the older kids here in July next week. So. Yeah.
Now, how interested are they in this? Because some of them have never done any gardening before.
Yeah, well, they seem to take to it pretty well. I don't have a green thumb by any means. I just do the nutrition part. But Shanae with Vine Branch, she does the gardening lessons and things like that. But the kids love it. They like getting their hands dirty. They're ready to learn, and they're pretty adaptable to everything we kind of throw at them. So.
Well, there's so many things that you can grow, and I guess everybody just about, unless they don't like tomatoes, and who doesn't like tomatoes?
Right.
There's a few people, but
that's easy to grow.
I think tomatoes is a good place.
Oh, that's
to start,
a good starter plant for sure.
I'll tell you something that I found really easy to grow is okra.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't know whether because it's adapted to my backyard
Yeah.
real well, but it will grow and
they get pretty big, don't they? Too. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I saw one at one of our community gardens yesterday, and I didn't realize that okra could even grow that big.
Yeah. Well, we've got about 4 minutes left. What else is on your mind?
I guess the other main thing that I've been doing is at the Cedar Senior Center and then the Lebanon Senior Center, I've been doing some exercise classes with a couple of groups there. So that's another thing I really enjoy is exercise classes. So, of course, we have that healthy eating aspect, but we got to move our bodies too, right? So I've been doing a 16-week class with each of them, and I finally finished up at the Cedar Senior Center the other day, and they really enjoyed that, just giving them something to do.
Well, now, most of these are elderly people that you're dealing with.
Yeah, that's correct.
You take it easy on them, or you get
I like to think it's pretty easy. They seem like they enjoy it, so they asked me to come back. So I think they're enjoying it pretty well. But yeah, we just know that physical activity portion is important, especially for our older adults as well. Just moving your body and staying flexible, because we know that our muscles is a use it or lose it type of situation. So if we're not using them, it can kind of start to decline.
It is so easy to just sit in your recliner and do nothing, and
Exactly.
I'm guilty of that sometimes.
Oh, yeah, me
myself.
too.
And sometimes you just almost have to force yourself
Yes.
to get up and move, but it's the best thing to do, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's some of the things that we try to teach them too. And a lot of the exercises that we were doing are things that you could even do in your chair, like leg extensions or ankle circles, things where you're just moving your body and just keeping that blood flow, letting your muscles know, hey, I'm still here.
Well, even somebody as young as you probably has to fight this a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
you're probably involved every day, or at least several days a week, with paperwork. I mean,
Right, yeah.
everything is paperwork,
Exactly.
and computer and all that.
A lot of
And
sitting.
Most of the time, you're sitting down, not being active when you do that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all about finding time, squeezing those little bits of exercise throughout your day. And now I think the goal as far as what the government kind of regulates for exercise is 140 minutes of exercise throughout the week. So you're not looking at a daily thing necessarily, but if you're getting about 20 to 30 minutes of exercise and little bits of pieces throughout the week, then you're going to kind of reach that goal.
Does playing pool count?
Hey, it's go use your arm muscles, right?
Cornhole count?
Yeah, we'll make it count. They're pretty lenient on what counts as exercise these days. So
I'm sorry, but one of the most boring things to me is walking.
yeah, I can understand that.
And I know I need to, but I just can't hardly force myself
Yeah, it's
to.
hard. It's like you got to have a destination.
But even if you don't get out and walk, there are other ways to
Absolutely.
get some exercise
Indoors.
rather than being a total couch.
Yeah,
potato.
dancing, gardening, something you enjoy. Like you said, even just house chores counts as exercise if you're moving around enough. Yard work, anything. If you're moving your body, then most likely it counts as exercise.
Yeah, maybe for some people, even going to the mailbox. Would be
Yeah,
exercise.
honestly, it could count for sure.
Well, we're towards the end of our time here today,
Yeah.
but what you got plans for tomorrow? You want to talk about?
What am I doing tomorrow? No, I don't think I'm doing anything special tomorrow. I may go to the fairgrounds as far as for the fireworks. But yeah, we're closed tomorrow in observance of the holiday. So just going to take a rest.
If somebody is interested in anything that you and I have talked about this morning, what's the easiest way to reach you if they want to talk to you?
Yeah, so you can give our office a call at 615-444-9584 and ask about any of the programs that we offer, and we can get you more information about them. We have a website as well. I think it's wilson.tennessee.edu as well. We have a lot of information about our programs as well, but usually calling is the best way.
There's so much. The UT Extension
I know, it's hard
has so much information available, and it's really, if you are computer savvy, it's at your fingertips with your computers right there. But I also know you have quite a bit of printed material.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We have stuff in our office at 925 East Baddour Parkway, Suite 100. We always have resources available, and we're always in the office to help. So whatever anybody needs, if you need recipes, anything related to healthy eating or nutrition or cooking, I'm definitely the person you want to call. Even exercise, even walking to the mailbox.
Leslie, thanks for being with us this morning. I think we've covered a lot of territory. I've enjoyed your visit.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, that is part one of Coleman and Company. Mayor Bell's going to be here on the other side, and we'll welcome him on part two of Coleman and Company right here on FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks, Absolute Kubota. Ride it off the lot. Ride it off your taxes. Visit Absolute Kubota. Take advantage of the Section 179 tax deduction when you buy new Kubota construction equipment, tractors, RTVs, hay tools, or turf products. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. TDOT's on the scene of this crash here on 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. They managed to move it over to the side, but the damage is done now. It's just slow go down through here on 65 southbound, trying to get down past Trinity Lane on this collision. 24 is loading up again westbound up through the Antioch area. Still moving right now, coming in from Murfreesboro, Rutherford County. Lots of radar out here this morning. You're going to see a lot of that the next couple of days. Prince's Hot Chicken has new items on the menu. Check them out, princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is in a new location, 1746 West Main in Lebanon, across from Sports Village. Gregory Dental Group offers cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs.
No insurance? No problem. Call about the discount plan. Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322.
Simple banking, simply better. Since 2004, that's been our motto at Cedarstone Bank. I'm Bob McDonald. We know that financial decisions can sometimes be complicated, but that doesn't mean solutions have to be. Whether you're buying a new home, renovating your existing home, or buying a car, or maybe you're a business that needs to purchase equipment for the building you operate from, we have all the technology that will allow you to do your banking online or on the telephone, or you can come in one of our beautiful branches and see our great people. With locations in Lebanon, Mount Juliet, and Nashville, Cedarstone Bank. Simple banking, simply better.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
A partly cloudy skies today with a slight chance of an afternoon thunderstorm. Highs will be in the mid-90s. Partly cloudy tonight, lows in the mid-70s. And then Independence Day looks partly cloudy with a better chance of afternoon thunderstorms. Highs in the mid-90s. This weather forecast brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. With your severe view forecast, I'm Storm Specialist Drew Richards.
We welcome you to part two of Coleman and Company. Each Wednesday at this time, we talk with John Langford with Edward D. Jones. And John is not with us today, and he's given me something to read here. And I'm going to do that right now. It says, I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person this week, but like many of you, I'm on vacation with my family over the 4th of July. That brings up a topic that many of my clients bring up when talking about their retirement plans. What are some things on your bucket list? Do you want to take that trip to Hawaii? Is there a vintage car that you've always wanted to own? Maybe your bucket list isn't something lavish, but rather being able to pick up your grandkids from school and spending your summers with them and your family. Whatever is on your bucket list, John Langford with Edward Jones can create a financial plan to achieve your financial goals. Call to set up an initial appointment at 615-443-2090. 443-2090. They will create an investment strategy to achieve your financial goals and fill that bucket list. John Langford is your local Edward Jones financial advisor at 1424 West Badua Parkway, Suite C in Lebanon. We make sense of investing. Well, now, we usually talk a little bit more than that. And, of course, again, John is located at 1424 West Badua Parkway, Suite C, and he is celebrating the 4th of July a little bit, I guess, all week from what we just read here. But Mayor Bell is here this morning. Mayor, good morning to you. You know John, and you can talk a little bit about him here if you want to.
Well, good morning, Coleman. I do know John. John serves on our planning commission. I appointed him to that a year and a half or so ago, and he's doing a really good job at that. He's really gotten active. He speaks out a lot, and really does a good job on that. So I appreciate John being on the planning commission, being a big part of the community. You know, he also plays in a band.
Yeah,
and he's always at events here in town. He did Rock the Block a few weeks ago, and actually last year his band performed at our 4th of July celebration, and we asked him this year, but he said no. So I guess now I know why.
Yeah, he's on special assignment.
Yeah, he does.
Well, he's only been in advertising with us, I guess. I'm guessing 6 weeks, something like that here. And but I have been impressed with what he has to say in 5 or 6 minutes each week when he's here. He seems to really know what he's talking about, and he seems to be able to have an idea of devising a plan, whatever your situation is. So we certainly appreciate having him, and I'm glad that you can put in a word this morning as well to take up our commercial time.
Well, like all your commercials. When I listen to your show, and I'm not here, I learn a lot about the businesses and the people behind them, and I've learned a lot about John's business since he's been on this show. And I've known John for a long time, and he's a resident of Lebanon. And as I said, he serves on the planning commission. He does a lot of other things in the community, but I've learned a lot about what he does just sitting here across the table from him.
Right. All right. Well, Mayor, we had a meeting last night. It's a regular city council meeting, the first Tuesday in July. And tomorrow is the 4th, which we'll be talking about, no doubt. And where do you want to start this morning?
I will start with a council meeting last night. It was a lot of general business on there, but there were a couple items I want to talk about. And the first one was last night I offered a proclamation for a day of prayer for our schools. This is something that the Lebanon Kiwanis Club started back in 1999. Actually, Eddie Callis is the one who thought it up, and he was there last night with some other Kiwanians. And back after Columbine, Eddie really got the idea that we need to pray for our schools. And so this is something they've done. This is the 26th year, and so I was honored to make that proclamation. And really what it is they asked that the day before school starts, that churches set aside time to pray for the students in the schools, and that is July 28th. That's that Sunday before school starts. And so, the proclamation was just to honor them for that idea and to really get the word out that this is something that's important. The world has changed a lot in the past 26 years, and this is something that the Kiwanis Club feels is important. I feel it's important. The City Council does as well. There's actually an item on the agenda last night, a resolution to declare this day as well. So, I appreciate Eddie thinking that up and for the Kiwanis Club to continue to do it for a quarter century.
Right. Well, I think we've had pretty safe schools here, and I want to thank God has heard us and is keeping us safe relatively much more than some places.
I think so, and of course, the Lebanon Police Department, the Sheriff's Office, they all do a great job too. I believe Wilson County was the first county to have SROs in schools, and I know that's spread throughout the state now. But you always prepare for the worst and pray for the best, and for the past 25 years we've had the best, but prayer always helps.
All right, what else from last night?
So last night we did have a rezoning request that some people came out and spoke against. It was on the agenda about a month ago, and it got deferred, and it's out in Ward 4 on Highway 109, out kind of towards Wilson Central, almost to 840. And it was to rezone some property to industrial. And Councilor Crowell, who I believe will be on here in a few days, he had some questions about. He asked for it to be deferred, and last night he still has some questions, some concerns. But something interesting happened. That's why I'm bringing it up. It did pass. It passed over his objection. The city council passed on first reading 5-1, and so that doesn't happen a lot at city council, but it did last night. And Councilor Burdine, she said a few words about that, but it was a rezone request, a little bit of annexation, maybe just a few acres of annexation, but mostly it was a rezone. It's in an area that's already mostly industrial, but there are people who live out there who came out and spoke out against it. So, as Councilor Moorhead said last night, Phil Moorhead, that everybody who sits up there is truly looking out for what's best for the city, and sometimes what's best for the city may not be best for an individual, but he said that, and that's true. But I just thought it was interesting last night that the councilor in that ward really had some questions, but it got approved anyway, and that doesn't happen very often.
Right. What was the biggest objection? Change is a big objection sometimes. Is that the biggest thing that just didn't want to change?
I think it was, and as that area has grown, of course, back a long time ago, and you remember this, and I do too, that area was out in the country. You had Central Pike out there, but when the state extended Highway 109 and built 840, that really changed things a lot out there, and it really changed the feature of that area. And so through the years since that time, it has gradually grown, and it has grown more industrial. And but as I said, it's gradual. And so I think there are some neighbors out there. Most of them live in the county, on property, and this is going to be at the entrance of their road, Bettis Road, and they just felt like that was encroaching too much into their neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And I understand that. I really do. And but the council on first reading, it still has another reading to go in a couple of weeks. But on first reading, they said, hey, this property is an area that's industrial. If this property is going to be anything, that's probably what it's going to be, and they chose to go that way. But I will say this too, is that, and this is something I've been saying for a while, is that we have a lot of distribution centers here. We have a lot of warehouses here. And if we're going to have big buildings like that, I would like to see more manufacturing, because I believe manufacturing brings more jobs, brings better jobs, more high-paying jobs, and so if these buildings are going to continue to be built, I would like to see more manufacturing. This city was built on manufacturing, and I would like to see that return. I know Corey Johns at the JECDB is working hard to make that happen, but also understand, that we're in an area where we're close to a lot of people, and we have a lot of interstate access. So distribution centers do look at us as a hot spot. I just wish we were going a different direction. So,
all right. What else from last night?
That's really it for the council meeting. We had several items that were more internal. One that people may find interesting is that the post office has changed their rules a bit. So if a new development comes in, say a subdivision, they no longer want a mailbox in front of each house. They want all the mailboxes to be in one area, kind of like a kiosk, where people have to go to that space to get their mail. And again, this is a post office rule. It's not us. And so we have.
You see me frown.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
There is something about having your own mailbox.
I like to walk to the end of my driveway and get the mail. Yeah. And I know, and it's just part of life. Yeah.
Well, I can understand. Probably, I'm guessing where they're coming from. They can put mail in 8 or 10 or 20 boxes a lot quicker than it can run up and down the street.
Yeah, and so last night what we did was on first reading we established rules for mail kiosks. We never had those, and so and basically what they are is that you have to provide a shelter for people to stand under, some shade or gather rain. It has to be parking there so people can have a place to park, and also we want the kiosk to be as convenient as possible. So if you're building a subdivision of homes and you can't just have a kiosk at the entrance and somebody lives a long way away, you have to sort of scatter them through the neighborhood so people do have the ability to walk to them if they can. And so again, that was a post office rule, and we feel like we needed to place some standards to help the people who are going to live in those neighborhoods.
Well, now they can they be total dictators on something like this?
The post office?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they can. They are the federal government. They establish the rules, and this is something that it just sort of started happening, and I'm not a fan of it. I'm not sure the people.
Well, now but you're trying to modify.
We are.
It sounds like
we are, and the post office is not, said anything is wrong with it, and we have discussed it with them. It's not like we just went out and made rules without them knowing it, and I understand the convenience for the mail carrier to stop in one spot and unload and not have to go house to house, but we also think that it should be something that for the people who pick up their mail, it should be as convenient as possible. And they should have a nice place to do it. A place, as I said, it's out of the weather, a good place to park, and that's really what these rules are about.
Okay, time for us to take a break. Lebanon Mayor Rick Bell is here. We haven't hardly talked about the 4th of July. I'm sure we'll get around to that.
Oh, it's coming.
Stay with us for more here on Coleman & Company FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks, Absolute Kubota. Write it off the lot. Write it off your taxes. Visit Absolute Kubota. Take advantage of the Section 179 tax deduction when you buy new Kubota construction equipment, tractors, RTVs, hay tools, or turf products. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's moving a lot better than it was. 65 southbound over here at Trinity Lane from an earlier crash. It's starting to load up again up in Millersville with that traffic volume on 65 south coming through that section of Sumner County. Lots of radar out here. We did see it get a little bit heavy earlier on 40 East there at 840 coming through Dixon County. All that traffic headed towards Kingston Springs. Hey, Nash Painting is a non-franchise painting company. Mention this ad, get a 10% discount. Call Nash Painting 912-2288. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
What does it mean to be rich? Maybe it's less about reaching a magic number and more about discovering the magic in life. I'm John Langford, your local Edward Jones financial advisor in Lebanon, Tennessee. Count on me for financial strategies that can help support a life you love, because the key to being rich is knowing what counts. Contact me today at 615-443-2090 and let's find your rich. Edward Jones, member SPIC.
We continue here on this Wednesday morning. It is July the 3rd of March, July 4th. Mayor, Lebanon Mayor Rick Bell, of course, is with us. Once again, I just say again how much I appreciate you being out here twice a month, because I learn a lot when you come. I hope our listeners do.
I appreciate you letting me come out here and talk. As I've said many times, it's important to be on this show. A lot of people listen, and this is a great way to get the word out. Yeah. And you provide entertainment, but you also provide a service. And that's always a good thing.
You through with last night's meeting?
That's really it for last night. I want to wish everyone a happy 4th of July tomorrow.
Well, being the historian that you are, and I alluded to this with somebody yesterday, I think, but just remembering from history that after the Declaration of Independence was signed, and I think it was John Adams that wrote to his wife about what a day of celebration this should be in years to come, and for the most part, I think we fulfill that pretty well.
It is, except it's the wrong day.
Well, that's an aside.
John Adams.
The second,
it's July the 2nd is the actual day, and And then the date that's on the decoration is the 4th, and that's why the 4th is the celebration day. But John Adams, he wrote letters to his wife, and that's something he did every day. And he wrote about the celebration and for years to come, and families will get together, and we'll have festivals and parties and speeches and
he was somewhat of a prophet.
He was, and he went on and on about it, and then he said that he just knows in history that July 2nd will be celebrated forever. It turns out it's July 4th, but it doesn't matter, what day it is, because really what we're celebrating is independence and freedom, and really what those guys did, because it wasn't just one day. They worked on it for years. Yeah. And it took a revolution that lasted for years, and this is the day that we celebrate all that.
Well, I have read too that most of the signers of the Declaration of Independence did not fare well after that. A lot of them lost what they had. I mean, by signing that, they were alienating themselves totally from England, and the consequences for a lot of them was not good.
Well, we remember the famous ones. Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Ben Franklin, George Washington was not there. He was out fighting the Revolution, but there are a lot of people who signed that document who are not remembered. And you're right. Not all of them ended happily, and they were all taking a big chance. I mean, that was treason. They were rebelling against their government, and if the outcome had been differently, they may have been executed. But it was huge, and I think sometimes we forget about that. Sometimes we look back and I think we've turned the founding fathers into marble statues. We see the statues of them, and what we tend to forget is they were people, and they did some great things, and just like all the rest of us, they made mistakes, but they laid it on the line.
Yeah,
they really did.
Well, you want to talk about the celebration you've got planned?
I do.
But let me say this too. Normally, or often, around the 4th of July, I'll do a special program. I'll have a guest coming, but I knew you were going to be here, and the way the calendar's fallen, we don't need it. We just need you this morning.
Okay. Well, but before I talk about the celebration, there is one business item I need to mention is, of course, tomorrow we are closed, and our sanitation trucks will not run tomorrow. So if your cans get picked up on Thursday,
that's
typically,
I'm listening.
Then you'll be picked up on Friday.
Friday, okay.
And then if you're picked up on Friday, they'll come by Saturday. So we will still come by. It'll just be a day later than usual. So so if you put your can out, just keep out for an extra day. We'll be by there to get it. But tomorrow we do have a big celebration out at the fairgrounds, as we always do. This year we're going to open the gates at 5. And then the fireworks will go off at 9 o'clock as usual, and that show will last about 20 minutes. But from 5 to 9, we have a lot of things going on. We have a lot of activities for kids, face painting. We have some jumpy houses and things like that. We also have plenty of food trucks. The food trucks really did a lot of good business last year, and a lot of them wanted to come back, and we've added some more. So if you come out, there'll be plenty of food, there'll be plenty of games, activities, and we'll also have music. We have 2 bands coming tomorrow night. The first one will be El Dorado, which is a band that comes highly recommended, and then Sweet and 3, who played last year, they will play, and they're also going to play during the fireworks, which we did that for the first time last year, and I think that made it very special. So it's going to be set up exactly where it was last year, there on the Midway, which is a little different than in years past. And we have all sorts of other things too. We have the watermelon truck that the Senior Citizen Center does every year. So they'll be passing out free watermelon, but we'll have tons of food, tons of games. So I ask everybody to come out.
The variety is pretty good too, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The food variety, we'll have all kinds of food. Whatever you like, it'll be there. And so we ask everybody to come out. And I was talking to Billy before the show, and he was talking about how he likes to come out here to the radio station and stand on the back deck and watch the fireworks. And I know people around town park at different places, and you can see them from miles away. But being at the site is really different because, as I said, we have the music to go with the fireworks. We have a lot of things for families, and so I just asked everybody to come out to the fairgrounds and try it out, be out there with us, and you also might get to watch you and I play cornhole.
Yeah, we get to play. I get to beat you again.
Yeah, you do. I will say this. I haven't picked up a bag since last year, and now somebody said on the radio that you're going to throw your offhand, your right hand this year. Is that right?
Well, I tell you what, I think I'll do both. When we start out, I'll throw left-handed just so I can hopefully get a win there, and then yes, I'll throw right-handed. That'll add a little interest.
So that way you'll let me win. I appreciate that. So when it comes to cornhole, Coleman, I guess you're the Tennessee baseball version of cornhole, right? You just win.
Well, I wish I could say that. But we at the Senior Citizen Center, we've had an infiltration of some really good cornhole players.
Is that right?
I'm probably not even honestly, I'm probably not in the top 10 anymore.
Really?
The only time I ever win anymore is when I have one of those real good ones.
Well, either you need to practice more or tell them to go play somewhere else.
I probably need to practice a little bit more, but I don't know whether it helps or not. If I can ever get in a groove, when I'm playing you, I get in a groove and I can just throw it in there. But,
that's because you're not worried about it. There's no pressure.
To be honest, you're not as intimidating as some of them.
See, there you go. That's what I thought. But come on out, to the celebration. It's always a great day. It really is, and we have a huge crowd, and
we do. There are thousands of people that'll be there tomorrow night.
There really are.
And they really turn out for the fireworks.
Yeah, there's a big crowd. The Midway is filled up, and I know there are people who come out there and park and stay by their car too, and so the people who do that, welcome. We appreciate you coming, and if you want to walk up to where we are, that's great. If not, I understand that too, but. It's a great day, and I need to say this too. There are a lot of city employees who work hard to make that event happen. And they're numerous, and I don't want to start naming people because I'll leave somebody out. But
you do have the auxiliary police who play a big role.
We do
have in the past.
Well, we have the police department that handles traffic. The auxiliary police, they help with that. But not only that, we have our public works department that put up the stage and help set up, and the people in my office, they have a big role in it. I mean, there are so many departments that play a role in this event happening. It's I'm really thankful for what they do because it's not easy. It's really not. But it's something that they want to do, I want to do because it is a celebration. And I need to say this too. There's one part of the celebration that is not really us doing it. It's the veterans organizations, and they put out the field of flags. And there's over 300 flags this year. That was always been their goal to get that many. And you can still sponsor a flag. It's a fundraiser for them. But I was out there Saturday. My mom and dad went with me to their opening ceremony. And it's really something to come in there and see 300 U.S. flags all in a row out there. Mm-hmm. And as I told them Saturday, what I appreciate about that is what that flag represents. It represents a lot of things. But when people coming off the interstate or they turn into the fairgrounds, they know that this is a city it's a patriotic city. This is a city that loves this country. It's the greatest country in the world. And those flags, locally, they represent that for us. And so I really appreciate them putting those flags out there and staying out there with them every day. But that's not something we do, but it really adds a lot to the event.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, we've got about 2.5 minutes. The fiscal year has ended as of June 30th, mm-hmm. and as we think for another fiscal year, and the new budget's gone into effect, we're sitting pretty, aren't we?
We are. We're in great shape. We passed the budget, at the last meeting a couple weeks ago, and went to effect Monday. Again, no property tax increase, and we've done a really good job, and the department heads have done a really good job of staying within their means, as I asked them to do, and we're in really good shape. Our projections this year are great as far as revenues go, and we feel like it's going to be another great year physically for us. And as we've talked about a lot, we have quite a bit of money set aside. $50 million that really that savings account really helps us. Helps us when if we need to borrow money. It helps us with the interest rate. It helps us with our rating, and also if we have a situation where we need a emergency one-time expense, the money's there.
And we don't want to foolishly waste that.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I think that's pretty much what I've gathered. That's the mindset of the city fathers.
It is. It's my mindset. It's the council's mindset. Stuart, the commissioner of finance, is his as well. We all work well together, and we all agree that our most important job is handling the people's money and handling it well. And
just need people to keep shopping in Lebanon.
we need sales taxes to keep growing, and we have projected that. And but yes, shop local. It's important.
Well, besides celebrating tomorrow, you got any other plans for the weekend here?
Well, actually, Saturday is my anniversary.
Oh, really?
And so Nicole and I, we're going to celebrate Saturday. And
happy anniversary.
Well, thank you. We're gonna go to dinner in Nashville and have a big weekend and spend the night down there. So just get away for a few hours. And so
okay, tomorrow, what time we going to play cornhole?
Well, we open at 5. So what time you want to play? What time are you going to get there?
5:36. I don't know.
Well, I'll need to make a little introductory announcement, so we'll make it 5. Let's make it 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. All right, I'll be there. God willing, I'll be there. I probably better say it like that.
Yeah, just if you survive the parade in Watertown, if you're going to that.
All right. Well, that's it for a Wednesday, and until Friday, I wish you a wonderful day.